Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman.
And hello, everybody. Here we are again. We've got the amazing Ken Foster in the house. Hello there.
Hey, it's good to be on the show again, Daniel. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's great to have you, Ken. We're talking about, the amazing impact Ken's been having in the world, the impact he's had in my life, even though I haven't even hung out around him that much, but there's been impactful things that have happened from the words he shared to things I've heard him teach. They're so clear, so impactful. He really is a very impactful teacher. So I'm really looking forward to sharing him with you. And I know that as you listen to him, truly you will be impacted by what he has to share today. And today is about such an important subject, the courage to change everything. I always say, Ken, whenever somebody works with me, I says, now going into this, I have to tell you, you got to be open at least to be willing to change everything, right? We have to, I say at any point in our life, we have to be open and ready to be willing to change anything. So isn't that right? I just get a quick yes or no from you before I share more.
That's a quick yes, and we'll go into depth in that. Absolutely. Why that's important.
Right. Yeah. Let's get into that. So everybody keep tuning in so we can share that with you, why that's so critical to everything, especially spiritual rock stars. All right. So Ken D. Foster brings over 35 years of expertise in personal and business development. He is a visionary business strategist, best-selling author, and syndicated radio host of the Voices of Courage show. Ken has coached and mentored hundreds of CEOs, entrepreneurs, executives, and senior professionals to take the courageous path, release their limitations, and free their spirit to bring in harmony, success, and bottom line results to their businesses and lives. He specializes in working with people who are committed to generating their greatest dreams, uplifting their lives, and maximizing their highest potential. He does this exceptionally well. I agree. Okay, Ken's journey was transformed under the guidance of the renowned spiritual luminary Yogananda, whose book, The Autobiography of a Yogi, changed millions of lives around the world, as we all know. One of those was Ken D. Foster, who became a student and a yogi. Ken has developed science-based, highly practical solutions for stimulating human potential in companies and or individuals who are seeking personal balance, increased profitability, organizational productivity, time management skills, meditation techniques, systematic solutions, and authentic team building, communications, all kinds of awesome.
Lots of other stuff. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Has spoken with the tops of the top people in the world on stages with them, and and he's gone and consulted with all kinds of top companies. He's a big rock star. So Ken, getting back to what we were talking about, I mean, I think it's so important because a lot of times with the kind of work that I do and in spiritual circles, a lot of times they're like, well, when the wind blows me in a certain way, I'll go, once it comes, I'll do it. Right. But sometimes we really do. We have to claim, I want to say those other elementals. I talk about elementals, the steel and the fire, to just say, that's it. I'm doing this. And claiming our power to say yes to what it is. I mean, for our listeners who are people wanting to make big impact in the world, claim our power to have the courage to do that. But it's so hard for so many people. What have you learned?
Listen, there's a lot of folks struggling right now. I talk to them all the time. Some of my friends, some of my family, there are people that are ill right now. There are people that lost loved ones. They've lost their jobs. They've lost their careers. There's a lot going on out here. And so, for some, it feels hopeless. For some, it feels they go into depression. For others, they're, increasing their addictions to, food or alcohol or drugs or shopping or whatever it is. It's a turbulent time. But I want to say that, first of all, let me just say this, that my heart goes out to everybody that's suffering, and I feel it. I feel it. I'm with everybody with that. But I have to say, we don't have to suffer. Suffering is optional, right? We have to go through our lessons. We have to go through the challenges that we have to go through. All of us do. And what I'm about to say today, I want to say this, words matter. Words matter. If you're there right now and you're listening to this podcast, I'm speaking to you. There's no coincidence that you're here right now in this moment. So try to become present for a moment. Allow yourself to hear what's being said beyond the words, the messages that are coming in just for you. And, there's only one thing that'll stop us from creating success in our life, and that is if we are not receptive to something new. So when Daniel was saying everything has to change, we have to be open to that. Like he said, we have to be open to allowing ourselves to be receptive to new words, new thinking, new ways of showing up. And if you feel resistance to anything I say today, then I want you to think about maybe that's the exact thing you need to hear. Maybe that's the exact thing. I'm pushing your buttons for a reason, right? Maybe what I'm saying right now is pushing your buttons. You're like, oh, I don't even like that. Well, listen, that's exactly where you need to probably grow the next level. Now, how do I know that? Listen, I've been doing this for over 26 years, not only working on myself and having my life as an experiment, but also I've been coaching tens of thousands of other people around the world for that long. And, right now my 7th book is out, and as Daniel said, I have this podcast that I hope everybody tunes into. It's called Voices of Courage, which we bring in courageous people like Daniel does to help them to grow their lives and grow who they are, right? So we're all here learning and growing. We're all in it together. I'm with you. Daniel's with you. We're here together to do this. So I hope you'll be receptive today.
Yeah, I love that you said we're in this together. Maybe we can talk about that from a perspective that really dropped in for me. I just led a retreat last weekend, and one of the things I had the group do, all light leaders, we're all tuning in to the collective energy of where things are wanting to go from the perspective of the consciousness of humanity, not just us singularly. So we're like looking at the new year, okay, what's wanting to happen collectively? And when you're in the field of that collective resonance and that togetherness, it feels so much easier to navigate the path ahead, because you're not like in that energy where you feel like, oh, it's just little old me, I'm trying to move this thing along. But you get a sense that there's more than you. Of course we always talk about, so there's one with source, you got your light team, but like there's a collective right here, I mean, that's moving together with us. And when you feel into that and you just feel the natural inclination where things want to go, it can give you that sense of courage. Like I'm provided for. The energy is there for what wants to happen next. And I think this year has been a big wake-up call, as we all have been talking about. And it's like, well, now that we've gone through this, we have an opportunity to maybe, as we've been experiencing tragedies, people losing people's lives, and other tragedies people have experienced this year that I've been hearing a lot about. We have an opportunity, though, moving into the new year and beyond, to say, well, maybe that's kind of a wake-up call for me, that on a global level and then an individual level, that what am I waiting for? Why don't I just take the next step that I know that I've been wanting to take for the longest time? And I feel like more people are starting to hear that call now.
Well, excuse me, whether it be an individual or collectively, there's one thing that frees us, and that is, first of all, we have to acknowledge what's not working. We have to acknowledge it. We have to say, no, this isn't working in my life. We can't be in denial in this state of pretending like it's not happening. Mm-hmm. So you have to acknowledge it. But there's a second step to that. Then we have to find the courage to overcome whatever that difficulty is. How do we overcome it? Well, we seek the truth, right? You've heard it. The truth will set you free. And you've also probably heard it might piss you off first too. Well, it might upset the cart, right? It might get you into your uncomfortable zone, right? But what I found for so many years and so many times in my own life and other clients' life is that if you're willing to go into the unknown, if you're willing to be uncomfortable, if you can do that and find your courage, right? By the way, what is courage? Well, courage is an energy that comes from the divine. It's a divine energy. We all have it, but in a lot of people, it's undeveloped. So, courage isn't about running into a burning building or jumping off of a cliff and diving into a lake 1,000 feet down or 100 feet down. That might take a form of courage, but real courage is tapping into that soulful energy that we have within all of us and finding that courage to transform your life. It's so easy to tap into. You might tap into it by just asking a question. If I was courageous, what would I do now? If I was courageous, what are 3 steps I can take now to overcome whatever that is? Okay. So first step is acknowledgement. Second step, you get out of denial. Third step is getting the courage. The fourth step is then to take wise actions. When I was younger, I had what we call reckless courage. I would go out and do a lot of things that were reckless. That's not what we want. We've got to combine courage with wisdom. So we always ask, is this the wisest choice? How do we get into that? Now, I think what Daniel was referring to is what the collective mind. We all share one mind. Okay, it's that simple. If anybody's told you anything else, get rid of it. We share one mind. Now, that mind has a whole bunch of levels of consciousness. Okay, so you can be at a level of anger, you can be a level of fear, you can be a level of uncertainty, you can be a level of courage, joy, bliss, happiness, all kinds of different levels. And why do I say different levels? Well, everything is energy is in motion, right? And all energy has a frequency it puts off. So it depends on the frequency that you're tuning into, right? Because the mind's like a radio, we tune into it. That frequency will you'll either be lifted up, and I hope you're starting to feel lifted up right now, lifted up, because we don't, if you're in a place where you're hopeless, that's an energy field. And by the way, so you're tapping into this one thought is not individual, it's universal. You're tapping into that universal field of hopelessness. The guy here in the United States is feeling hopeless. If I go over to North Korea and tune into somebody that's hopeless over there, they'll be tuning in the same data phase and having the same thoughts. And as a result, feeling the same feelings. Okay, so thoughts over emotion, emotions over action, actions over results, results over destiny, right? So if you're feeling like crap, what do you think your destiny is going to be like if you consistently do that? It's not good. So as conscious spiritual beings, as an infinite being, we need to remember it for each other, to raise ourselves up and see each other in the highest and best light. See ourselves in that way and see each other. That's how we get to the next level together. And that's when we start to realize that anybody walking on the planet, wearing a mask, not wearing a mask, upset, not upset, doing some crazy stuff or not, they're all our brothers and sisters, because inside of them is a soul. It may be an unperfected soul, but I was once that way. I bet Daniel was that way, and we still are. We're not like arrived, we're moving up, just like you are.
That's so beautiful. I mean, that is something that's so deeply meaningful to me is us really embracing each other, no matter what our belief systems are, politically or on any spectrum. I mean, it just really, to me, on one level, on a certain level, it doesn't matter at one level, one level, in other levels, it matters. But one certain level, it doesn't matter, because all the things that we would say that we want to navigate within those other realms are more easily navigated when we're coming from that unity, from that love. We can actually hear each other. We can actually see where we agree. We can actually see where creative solutions can come together, where things can move forward. So I feel that is so important, because when we're so busy in this density of people fighting about an election or a pandemic or everything, it's a huge distraction, right? Like you said, when you say, where's that taking you on your destiny?
Keep tuning into the political talks. And by the way, after you tune off of them, how do you feel?
Right.
Okay. Do you feel empowered, enlightened? Well, I'm going to go out and conquer the world. Do you feel like, You might be upset. You might be angry. You might be pissed off. Like, I can't believe the world is this way. Well, it is for the moment that you're in that energetic field. And, some of you are going, well, that's not practical, Ken. Well, excuse me. It's, you know what? What's really practical? I bet everybody agree with me this. What's practical is being able to tune into your wisdom, right? To make wise choices. But you can't tune into wisdom. You don't make wise choices when you're in anger, fear, upset, worry, concern. You've just cut off the sunlight of the spirit. It took me years to learn that. I don't know why. I guess I'm a slow learner. But once I got it, I went, oh, okay. The goal here is to tune into God, the qualities of God. What are the qualities of God? We need to know those, right? Peace, joy, love, power, abundance, willpower, won't power. I mean, there's a lot of different kinds of power, but it's all that sacred power. When we can tune into that, and the only way we do it is with a calm mind. In fact, Yogananda, Paramhansa Yogananda, who I learned from and continue to learn from this day, he says that stillness is the price of greatness. Well, of course it is. We have to still our crazy conscious mind so that we can still it. And once we still it, we can tune into higher levels of consciousness. Leonardo da Vinci said, isolation is the price of greatness. Leonardo da Vinci, one of the greatest inventors of all time, who shifted humanity's consciousness, said isolation is price. What does that mean? Does that mean we take advantage of the shutdowns and we start to get quiet and still and go within our own selves and meditate, learn to meditate and go deeper? If meditation isn't going deeper every day for you, then I encourage you to find a new teacher. Okay, find someone that can help you go deeper and deeper. That's why I found Yogananda. You can find him at yogananda.org. But I found that, I wanted to go deeper and deeper. I was a seeker for many years. I went to a lot of different churches. I went all over the place. I studied Sufism and the Kabbalah and the Catholicism, Unity Church, the Science of Mind, and the I Am movement, and Saint Germain, and all kinds of cool things. They're all amazing paths. But what I found is that those particular paths for me took me to a certain level. I wanted to go deeper. I wanted to have this thing called God realization in my life. Quick story, Stephen Jobs. When he, Stephen Jobs controlled everything. He was kind of a control freak, right? So when Stephen Jobs passed, he had planned out his whole memorial service, right? So at the memorial service, everybody got this little brown box, right? And at a certain time, they asked everybody to open the box, and they opened up the box. And what was in it? Well, what was in it was Stephen's last message to the world. It was a book it was Autobiography of Yogi by Paramhansa Yogananda. And his message was self-realize, right? Simple. He wanted people to realize that, Autobiography of Yogi was the only book that he had on his iPhone. That was it. That was the only book. So a lot of you don't know that story, but that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about self-realization.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that. That's amazing. I had no clue. That's so amazing from someone like him that was the only book. You would think he'd be reading everything on there, but to have one book on there, that's amazing. That's so amazing. And so when we're talking about this, when we talked in the beginning of the show, we're talking about how important it is to be willing to change everything, right? Because we're all conditioned in all these different programs that we're just automatically doing every day. We've heard this many times, but we need to repeat it. And when we're in those patterns, when people say, "Hey, you could write a book like Ken did," or you could be a big time speaker, you can do this, you can do that, whatever it is, perfect is exciting. I'm going to do, oh my God, I can't do that. Who am I? And all this stuff. And then it feels like it's really scary. Like there's threats financially, physically, even we could die, so it's so many sense of threats. And it feels like, well, it might be a lot of responsibility. It might be heavy. It might be this. It might be that. But what I've learned is when we say yes to the things that feel bold, if we would just remember this, being bold actually can be a lot of fun. but we don't allow ourselves to feel that sometimes, or associate the two. Maybe is more what the issue is. We don't allow ourselves to associate the two. And I think we have to remember, like, being bold is actually a lot of fun. Because you don't have to keep doing like a slave, because your mind's a slave mind now. If you do the same patterns forever, right? You don't have to be a slave. You can break out of that by being bold and courageous, and knowing that actually is going to be, on the other side of fear is, everybody talks about dopamine these days, is a big, big, huge dopamine hit. I'm telling you, it's a big one. So Ken, I'm sure you know about all about that. So, but yeah, I mean, I feel like this is a big thing that people should realize is the bold moves I've taken in my life. They were really scary, but they've produced such fulfillment, but they were also fun at the time. Once I got past the initial fear, like pretty quick, it started getting to be fun. And then the fear wants to jump back in there, but you keep saying, no, this is fun. I'm going to keep with my commitment and keep going, and I know it'll be fulfilled. There's no choice. Life doesn't have any choice but to give us what it is that's, for us then. I mean, that's been my experience. So,
well, I think you touched on a good point. We're talking about, your commitment. And I don't think much happens without commitment. You and I, before the show, we talked about Louise Hay, that Louise Hay didn't, by the way, for those of you that don't know Louise Hay, she was the owner of Hay House Publishing, one of the largest publishing companies in the world for spiritual books. And I think before she passed, they were doing like $100 million a year, something like that. So it was a large organization. And when I interviewed her, the story that I told Daniel last time was that Louise never set goals, but what she did do is she set intention. And the other thing that I didn't talk about in the last show was she made commitments. Okay. So here's my experience. My experience is that, I'll just tell you a story. When I first got together with my wife, we went to a team and training meeting. She said, well, just go to this meeting. They'll teach you, you always like to ride bicycles. Why don't you go there and they'll teach you how? So I said, okay. So we went there, and at the time I was broke and they wanted $2,500 to teach me how to ride a bike. That was my commitment to them, give them $2,500 in contribution, and they would teach me how to ride a marathon, a 100-mile marathon. But, I think it makes your point, Daniel. I didn't know how I was going to do that, but I did. I made the commitment. I said, I'm going to do this, right? And as soon as I made the commitment, it was like almost miraculous. My wife started coming up with ideas about how we could raise the $2,500. We decided to create a party, and we invited a whole bunch of people. We had dancing, we had networking, we had people connecting, in a whole bunch of new people connecting with each other. They had a blast. And guess what? I raised my $2,500 like that, 1 week or 2 weeks, whatever it was. And then, of course, there was a commitment to do the hard stuff. I had to train. I was going to do a 100-mile bike ride. When I got on that bike, the first time I got on a bike and I did 25 miles, I puked most of the way back. It was terrible. It was hard. I never wanted to get on the bike again, but I did because I had a commitment, right? And I kept doing it and do it, and one of the things that ended up, I started on biking, and then I went into swimming and running, and in 2017, I was at Penticton, British Columbia, and there were 3,500 athletes from all over the world, the largest sporting event ever, right? And I was doing what's known as aqua bike, which was a 75-mile bike and a 2-mile swim as fast as you can do it. I got number 10 in the world in my age group. And got on the cover of Triathlon magazine because I was happy and joyful. And when the cameraman was taking pictures, I was like emanating joy. Well, I guess we'll take that guy's shot. Weird stuff. But, it started with that commitment to do, like you were saying, Dan, something way outside your comfort zone, just way outside. Why not? Why not you? Those dreams that you have right now, everybody has them. They're big dreams. They weren't put in me. They were put in you. Your dreams, you have your dreams. Why not go for Your life will get richer if you do, I can tell you that. But it'll be difficult. It'll be challenging. You'll have to grow out of the mindset that says, I don't know if I can. I can't. It's too much. I don't want to wake up early. I don't, whatever the I don't want us is. Those are the things that exactly we need to transcend here. And so when you make a commitment like that, like I did, you change everything. Everything changes. Your diet, how you sleep, who you hang around with. What's your knowledge of, in this case, triathlon and bicycles or running and swimming. You learn everything new, right? You change everything. And that's good because that keeps us young and vibrant and contributing back to the world.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing. So the commitment, that's so true. And then you had to be willing to in that case, that's one of those cases where you have to be willing to change everything. You can't, well, I want to get there, but I'm not willing to change certain things. So, but I still expect to get there. That doesn't usually work for most of us. I guess every once in a while, people can cheat on their commitment a little bit, but that'll catch up to you. Eventually, that's going to limit your growth at the minimum. So,
well, listen, man, I look today at, people that are getting sick from the coronavirus, right? And I say to myself, and I look at people, and don't get me wrong, I've got a lot of compassion for people suffering, okay? I've suffered a lot in my life, and I think my suffering so it gave me a lot more compassion. But I want to say this, the coronavirus isn't getting anybody sick. The coronavirus isn't killing anybody. Most people are killing themselves with what they eat, their lack of exercise, their lack of understanding about how their bodies work, how energy works. Listen, it's not about a coronavirus. It's about and some of you are going to go, I'm going to turn this off right now. Well, I told you might feel some resistance here. This is exactly what you need to pay attention to. All right. So listen, it's not about the virus. It's about what am I going to do? I'm asking it for you, right? You might ask yourself, what am I going to do to be able to have vibrant, healthy health so that I don't get sick with the next virus that comes along, the coronavirus 2 or 10 that's going to come because it's coming. Okay. Whether or not you think it is. Viruses come, they mutate and they're here. So are you going to be afraid of it? Are you going to worry about it? Are you going to wear, mask the rest of your life indoors and outdoors and walking around public? Or are you going to do something about your health? Now, some people can't. They're too far gone. I understand that. And they need to take care of themselves and isolate themselves and what have you. But that's a very small majority. The average age right now, the median age that this disease is killing anybody is 78 years old. And by the way, 78 years old happens to be the average age of lifestyle of living in the United States, right? So if you look on the CDC numbers and you wonder, well, gosh, how come death rates aren't going up? Well, it's because the people who are going to die do die. That's my theory. Okay, you don't have to go with it. But my point isn't that. My point is take care of yourself.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. The overall death rate hasn't changed. There's a lot of debate as to why that. Other people aren't on the road, but then there's more suicides and all this stuff. But the truth is, you're right. I mean, what you are absolutely right on the corona thing is 1,000%. The people that are being affected by it are, in poor health. They're in poor health, and a lot of times they are older as well. That's a big piece of it too. But the big piece is they're in poor health. And, I've had so many of my friends, other, leaders and whatnot say that really, I mean, this isn't about a coronavirus. This is about an awakening, right? And it really is an awakening for the planet, for us to stop doing the things we've been doing, to stop not doing our purpose, stop eating crap, stop not exercise, stop neglecting the things you need to be getting on. I mean, those things like today, I added some exercise I normally wouldn't do today. Part of me says, no, you need to get to work. Yeah. I'm like, nope, I'm going to go exercise. That's it, and I made the commitment. I did it even though part of me was afraid to let go of work, right? So it's like, no, I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to get to work afterwards, It's just these commitments matter, that every morning when you say, well, I'm going to meditate, and then you don't, that matters, right? Every, it's not that you have to be perfect every single time, but it's just that it matters. It makes a difference. You gotta sharpen up. And I really do feel during this time period, it's like, it's like the collective humanity. It's like, if you look at, if it was in a newborn stage, right? It's precious, it's delicate. Then you go through adolescence, all that. You get, as you in adolescent human years, you can get away with a lot, right? So for a while, but then as you get older, it's like, can't get away with that anymore. And I feel like that's where we sort of are in a collective in humanity. Personally, that's my own belief.
Well, I think I had a friend of mine tell me years ago, this is spiritual kindergarten, and I didn't get it at the time, but I sure do today. We think we're so far advanced, we got all this going on, but when they can shut down a planet with a scare of a virus going around, I think we got a little ways to go. It is a wake-up call for all of us. And by the way, viruses save people's lives. Okay, a lot of people don't think that, but yeah, they do, because they come in and they're toxic to toxic cells. They will kill off your toxic cells, and you will flush them out of your body, and you will survive as a result of that. So don't even think of virus as something negative or bad to have. It's like, it'll probably save your life. It's saved mine a few times when I've eaten enough junk that my body needed to cleanse, needed to let go. Now, I know a lot of people don't subscribe to that philosophy, but again, if you're resistant to it, maybe you do a little research into it. Don't take my word for it. I show up with, I don't know how many doctors I have that talk to me every week, but a whole bunch. And so I've done my research, and I continue to do my research. Science isn't a fixed, it's all about, this is the way it is and it's done. Science is completely, is evolving continuously. We're learning, we're growing. But if you've got fixed mindsets that this is the way it is, man, it's gonna stick you down the road. So I wrote a book to help people with that. It's called The Courage to Change Everything. I hope you don't mind if I mention it, Daniel.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Courage to Change Everything, Daily Strategies and Essential Wisdom to Awaken Your Inner Genius. How cool is that? So daily strategies, daily. We don't get enlightened in a moment. At least most of us don't. Some of us take a path of having a near-death experience and wake up and go, oh, it's kind of a slap over the, you need to wake up here, come back and do your life purpose. But for most of us, we wake up a little bit at a time. And I wrote that book. I put a lot of it's not my words. There's wisdom from all the different religions around the world. There's universal truth in, I guess we call it the collective universal field of wisdom that I put in that book on each page. And you have every day, you read a little bit of it, you answer some specific questions. Why would you do that? Well, you do that so that you can change the way that you're programming your mind. Most of us have been programmed in ways that don't create a lot of success, or if you create success, but it's stop-start success for some of you. And some of you are still struggling quite a bit. The book is there to help you to rethink your whole life, and to be able to start to create the wealth and create the dreams that you really do want to manifest, and create the legacy that you want to leave. And if you read it every day, and what I do is I've read it every day this year, because I take the medicine that has been given to me and I journal about it every day, page a day. And that has helped transcend me, the writer that wrote the book, right? It's like what's that old thing, Daniel? When the teacher is ready, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear, and the teacher will be taught. I think that's going on with this book for me. I can tell you that, and that will for you too. You can get it at couragetochange.us for those of you that are interested. Couragetochange.us.
Yeah, because that's the number one thing I find that stops people, is they don't have the courage to change. And so the people that want to be change makers here, that are not making change at the level they want to, whatever that means for them, they're, you'll be a big change maker, make the big change when you make the change, right? So it's like you want to make a big change in the world, but they're not willing to change. So how's that going to work? You got to be willing to change. I always say, for me, from my own viewpoint, and I'd love to hear your viewpoint, then, is my viewpoint is when I'm feeling like I'm not clear on how to let it happen, like, oh, but how's that going to work? What steps should I take? Exactly. Well, one approach is take the one step you're clear on right now. There's always a step right now you should be taking. Always, without any variation. No one can BS me on that one. You know what to do right now. Then when you're done with that, then you'll know what to do right now, because that truth is still there. So like, don't tell me you don't know what to do. Do the next thing you know to do, and it'll keep connecting you to the next thing to do. So that's one of my.
Well, I think you're dead on with that. I mean, that's kind of a trial and error thing. Listen, go out and go do it, right? Yeah. Go do it. My dad used to say, to me, he'd say, just to find something to do and go out and do it, and then just keep doing it, right? Just do it.
Yeah, but so in your book,
right. I want to say something. I want to plus that a little bit. So I think a lot of you agree with me that you don't always make the right choices. I know personally that I've spent many lifetimes thinking about this and figuring out how to do this. And I remember when I first got married to my wife, we'd be driving in the car, and she'd say, go left. And I'd say, well, why would you want to go left? I've been down that road. It's a longer way. There's always traffic. She'd say, no, just go left. And I go, okay. I'm going to go right. So I would go right, and we would inevitably hit the traffic that I didn't want to hit. Now, this went on for quite a while, until finally I was like, okay, I'm going to start going her way. And I started doing the opposite, right? I just decided to change up. Okay, I let go of my ego. I'm going to follow my wife. And inevitably, all the doors were open. All the green lights were there. No roadblocks, no traffic. And I was like, okay, I need to understand that my wife has a very well developed, and has since I met her, intuition. She knows what she knows. Mm-hmm. And for a lot of us, we don't have developed intuition. We have to learn it from others, or we learn it by stilling our mind and going within ourselves and quieting ourselves. Mm-hmm. But it takes courage to listen to that inner voice. I like what Daniel was saying. It takes courage to just go do it. You might be wrong, okay? But you want to tune in, and you ask yourself a quick question. Is this the highest and best choice right now? Just tune in, still yourself, take a few deep breaths, quiet yourself for a second. It's a big decision. And if it comes back that no, or you don't get any answer, my wife and I have a saying, we say, when in doubt, don't. It doesn't mean that we're not going to go that direction. It just means the choice right then is just to not do anything, to just stop. And there's something else that has to come in, or we'll learn something, or a new person, place, or thing will show up. And then we'll realize what we needed to know to take that next step. So I always like to tune in. And like I said, is this the highest and best? Another question, is this the highest and best choice for this moment? All right. We tune in, and we ask that constantly today. We have ways that we tune in for ourselves. We use muscle testing, kinesiology every day to check what we're putting in our body. Is it for the highest and best good right now? The vitamins I take, if I check in the morning, usually I'll get a yes to take it. If I check in the afternoon, I usually don't. Okay. Don't know why. Just the body says, I don't need any more. I'm good. So it's about being more aware, bringing more consciousness into everything we do. That is the spiritual path that we're on. We want to emanate the qualities of the divine. And part of the qualities of the divine is wisdom and courage. Wisdom and courage. Okay? Wisdom, we have to quiet ourselves, still ourselves, go within. And then it takes the courage to follow through with what we've heard. Might not always be right, but you will learn and you will grow. And eventually you'll be 100% intuitive. By the way, intuition is always 100% right. Imagine having pure intuition and picking the stock market all the time, right? Wouldn't that be interesting? People are doing that consistently. So I challenge you. in this time. You might want to get a book like mine, The Courage to Change Everything, right? You might want to pick that up, because what'll happen is it'll force you to start to go within yourself more and more every day. and develop that intuition so you're making better choices on a consistent basis. Now, listen, I'm not some guru here telling you that I know better than you. I don't, but I have experience through this. I don't know what's better for you for your life, but I have experience on how to use the mind to be able to generate the success that you want. And I'm not talking about the subconscious or conscious mind. I'm talking about the superconscious mind, the superconscious mind, the mind of God, the divine mind, the universal mind, that mind that I started in the beginning, we'll all tap into. We can all tap into that. And when we do that, we can start to get the answers that are highest and best for not only yourself, but everybody concerned on this planet. A lot of people are trying to make changes in the planet, and that's great. I love that. But I want to say, change yourself first before you start changing the world. Change yourself. When you do that, your world will change in greater ways, and you'll be a very great contribution to humanity.
Yeah. I suppose that's exactly what I'm talking about when I tell everybody be a spiritual rock star. Let's clean up our own frequency.
That's right.
Let's start thinking about we're going to change all this stuff. How realized are we ourselves? I mean, I love the way you just explained. Is another way of saying how I teach people too. I say you need to get still. Let the presence just share with you what direction you're to go next, and follow it, and it works so easily. It's really, in a way, it's so easy, but it's again, all those old programs and ideas and all the concepts that we put around things, we've just made it so complicated for our amusement, I suppose, in a way. But
very amusing, yeah.
And from our infinite self, I say it's always very amusing. It's like, whoa, how crazy did that get? So, but a lot of us are getting a little past that, right? Like, if we had enough of that one, I have better ways to be.
Well, yeah, when we come in here, most of us are living in our senses. The sense of taste, smell, touch, feel. We're sensual beings. We want to just everything's about our senses, right? If it tastes good, great. If it looks good, great. If it feels good, wonderful. But at some point, we start to realize that we can live at higher states of consciousness. We can enjoy our senses, but a lot of people, their senses are ruling their lives. Okay, people overeat all the time. They kill themselves with their mouth, right? Well, is it really their mouth? It's but it's really their mindset, right? They've like, oh, I could just have a little more. I'll have just a little more. I'll just do this. I don't need to exercise. They got this thinking that's really hurting them. So when we can tap into higher realms of consciousness, we start to realize we have realized wisdom in our life, and we start to apply it, and life gets better and better. And there are young kids coming to the planet right now that have a lot more realized wisdom than the adults, but the adults can't see that because they're so stuck in the ways that they think they are. They think they're so smart. They think they've got it all figured out. They've got the experience, but I can always tell if somebody's really got experience or it all figured out by how much love they have in their life and how happy are they, right? I've coached a lot of multi-gazillionaires over the years that weren't happy. They just weren't. And they came to me to find, well, who am I? What is my life purpose? Why? I bought all this stuff. I've had all the cars and the houses. I've lived in Hawaii. I've lived here and there, but I'm still not feeling happy. Well, why is that? Daniel would know. You got to tune in your soul. You got to reconnect with yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've had the same experience with some of the people I've talked to too, that have a lot of money, and same thing. Some of them have more lack consciousness than people that have a lot less money. They have a lot more lack consciousness. Sometimes it's grown even with all the money, right? So now we got even more to worry about because we need to make more, and I'm worried about losing what I got. And it's just a whole mess. So
even more. It's even more.
Yeah, it's even more lack than ever.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy. It's not what most people would expect from people that have a lot of money. But so anyway, as we're starting to wrap up here, Tell people how they can take advantage of, getting your book. Where can they go to get it?
Okay, thank you for that. It's easy to get the book. You can go to couragetochange.us. You can do it right now. couragetochange.us. And I encourage you to do that. Make the commitment this year. This is a great time to get the book because, we're just starting, closing out a year and starting the new year, right? And it's the perfect time to start it. So I really hope you'll do it. Now, what can you expect if you were to actually get it? Well, you can expect that this book wasn't written for people that are kind of just closed-minded. Okay, this book was written for somebody that's really willing to open their mind and open their heart and be willing to live a life of excellence. Years ago, I worked with Tony Robbins, and he was an amazing gift to the world. He still is. And when I was there working with Tony back in the 90s, he told me something, and it always stuck with me. He says, Ken, if you do a really good job, you'll get poor results. If you do a great job, you'll get good results. But if you do an outstanding job, you'll get it all right? So this book is about helping you step into getting outstanding results in your life on a consistent basis. And how long will it take for results to show up for you? Well, I would say that probably 30 days, maybe. For some of you, shorter periods of time. I have people that have written me, husband and wife, or recently here in San Diego, let me know that they're working together. They're more in harmony and sync with each other than they've ever been as a result of working the book together every single day. They have a new commitment for each other. And, so the book is really there for you. I wrote it for you. And it's there to help you to make your life better and take it to the next level. You will, at the end of this book, I can't guarantee it, but I'll put it out there. You will most likely be able to see the unseeable, know the unknowable, and do the impossible. You'll be able to see things you've never seen before. You will know because you will ask the questions that are in this book that will take you into higher realms of consciousness. You will know things you've never known before. And therefore, you will be able to do things you've never been able to do before. So I hope you'll check it out, couragetochange.us.
Great. couragetochange.us. Go ahead and go there and start off your new year with a bang. It's time to have the courage to change everything. And from a deep being like Ken, who also has all the wisdom of how to shift on every level, not only integrating with your supra consciousness, but just the practical aspects as well on top of that's super practical, but other practical aspects. There's a wide range of strategies and wisdom that he's sharing within that. So Ken, I'm so grateful that you've been on the show. Now, do you have any real last quick words for our audience before we wrap up today?
So what I'd like to leave you with is just a message of truth and hope and maybe some courage. Truth is you're an infinite being. You're filled with power beyond measure. In fact, in your little pinky finger, you have enough atoms in there to light up the whole United States. Okay, if we were able to split those atoms. So you are powerful beyond measure. If you can just remember it every day. You may not feel that way today or the next day, but if you keep remembering that, you keep visualizing that, you're an expression of the divine. That's true. The wisdom I'd like you to leave you with is that your heart knows. Courage comes from the heart. In fact, the word courage comes from the Latin word cur, which means to speak one's heart. When you can tune in and just listen to your heart is your intuition, by the way. Tune into your intuition, tune into your heart, and ask it what it really wants. And allow yourself then to find the courage to follow that. I can guarantee your life will get better and better. We're here in a big school. We're learning, we're growing, we're evolving. All of us are, right? If you're stuck and you're not feeling well, go find 3 people to go help. That's what I did early on. I just found people that were more stuck than me, and I would help them, and I would feel good. That would take me to the next level, right? So I just want to leave you with those words. And whatever's happening in this world, it's all temporary. Fears are there. It doesn't mean we don't feel fear, but we look fear in the face and we find the courage to overcome it. That's how we live a better and better life, all of us. That's it. Hope you have a blessed new year. This is going to be your best year ever. That's what I get. It's going to be the best year for all of us.
That's right. That's right. And so it is. All right. Okay. All right. Thanks, Ken. That's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Your energy and wisdom today. I'm so grateful for you. And I'm so grateful for our audience as well. And let's have an amazing year and get Ken's book, Courage to Change.us, correct? Right.
Courage to Change.us. Yep. Courage to Change.us. Daniel,
Awesome.
Thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Good thing. And everyone, keep on tuning in, and we'll keep on rocking it here on Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Till next time. Goodbye for now.
You're listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.